If we're helping projects in Africa, we want those projects to employ people from the country in which we're helping. And the vast majority of those workers are women. He takes great pride in supplying bed nets to Zanzibar, where the percentage of infants, I want you to hear this, where the percentage of infants infected with malaria has dropped from about 20% to less than 1% in 2 years. He called America, the American people's efforts to fight malaria, a godsend. And I agree. I thanked him for his good work and was honored to see stacks of these life-saving nets bearing the name, the United States of America. In the afternoon, we visited a Maasai girls' school where we received an unbelievably stirring welcome from the students. This school is led by a Catholic nun who is on my left, empowers girls who have long lacked education. The girls receive scholarships from our African Education Initiative. The girls sang these lyrics: "Look at us, listen to our voices. Today we can study because of the American people." It was a stirring anthem. We also met a group of Maasai men. These guys can flat jump. Unbelievably powerful experience for Laura and me, and it was a great way to close our trip to Tanzania. Early Tuesday morning, we headed to Rwanda. After flying over Lake Victoria, we touched down in the beautiful city of Kigali. We were greeted by Rwanda's thoughtful and effective leader, President Paul Kagame, along with Mrs. Kagame. Our first stop in Rwanda was to the Kigali Memorial Center. Laura and I laid a wreath to honor the victims of the 1994 genocide. I don't know if our citizens understand this, but between 800,000 and 1 million people were murdered in a very short period of time. More than 250,000 people are buried at this memorial, and many of them were children who were depicted in photographs that were donated by their families. This is a moving memorial. One inscription read, "Age 4, enjoyed singing and dancing," and then it listed the brutal way in which this young girl was murdered. The memorial is a moving reminder that evil is real, and we must confront it wherever it happens. The Memorial Center is also a reminder of how far Rwanda has come in the past 14 years. During our meeting, President Kagame updated me on his country's dramatic and hopeful turnaround. Rwanda has taken bold steps to foster reconciliation, to rebuild its devastated infrastructure, and to grow its economy. It is a hopeful country. And to build on this progress, the President and I signed a bilateral investment treaty, which will help attract more capital to Rwanda's dynamic economy. We're also cooperating on matters beyond Rwanda's borders. I thank Rwanda for being the first nation to contribute peacekeepers to Darfur, and I announced that the United States has committed $100 million to assist African nations willing to step forward and serve the cause of peace in Darfur. I also had the honor of dedicating a new U.S. embassy in Kigali, which is a sign of our lasting commitment and our deep friendship. Our final stop in Rwanda was a hillside school that is supported by PEPFAR, the emergency plan. It was a really interesting experience. We met with a lot of students and their parents, and this is a scene of the most popular club at school, which is the Anti-AIDS Club. The students told me about their ambitious projects, which include teaching abstinence and providing HIV/AIDS testing and counseling. Abstinence may be controversial in the halls of Congress. It is not controversial on this campus. As a matter of fact, they put a skit on for us. In it, a girl is approached by a rich man who offers her gifts in exchange for sex. She calls it a ridiculous proposition and says, "I'm not that kind of girl." Laura and I departed Kigali inspired by the courage of the Rwanda people, grateful for their hospitality, and confident in their extraordinary potential for the future. Our fourth stop was Ghana. We received another warm welcome with tens of thousands lining the street, including thousands of school children in their uniforms. I suspect they're really happy I came. They didn't have to go to school. At least till the motorcade passed. President Kufur and I met at Osu Castle. It's a striking white building on the shore of the Atlantic. For generations, the castle was a post in the slave trade. And today, it is the seat of a proud and democratic government. During our meeting, President Kufur and I discussed the wide-ranging cooperation between the United States and Ghana. After the meeting, I added a new element to our partnership, a $350 million initiative to target neglected tropical diseases like river blindness and hookworm across the globe. Needless to say, the President really welcomed this announcement. He spoke powerfully about the ideological struggle unfolding around the world, and he stressed the importance of America's continued engagement in Africa. Listen to his words. If the United States should lock itself into isolationism and think it is safer, then I would say perhaps they don't know what is coming. Wise words from a wise man. Our next stop was a visit to the embassy staff at the U.S. ambassador's residence in Accra. I think the audience was happy to see Laura and me. It seemed that way. But I know they were even more excited to see our surprise guest, reigning American Idol, Jordan Sparks. This young child can sing. And she sang the national anthem that inspired all that were there. And I reminded people there that this spring, American Idol will again use its prominence across our TV screens to raise funds for malaria relief in Africa. After lunch, we went to a trade fair and met local merchants who export their products to the United States through AGOA. My predecessor gets a lot of credit for getting AGOA out of the United States Congress, and I appreciate the Congress working to extend it again. This is a good program, and it's working. At the trade fair, we saw how USAID helps these budding entrepreneurs secure financing and increase their access to the U.S. market. I mean, sometimes we take entrepreneurship for granted. The spirit exists, but sometimes people just need a little help. And that's what we're doing. One group was called Global Mamas. It specializes in helping women entrepreneurs find new places to sell their goods. With USAID help, the company has gone from 7 employees to about 300 employees in 5 years. Those are before Global Mamas. One woman named Esther runs a dressmaking company called My Redeemer Liveth. Since the trade hub opened, she's increased her exports and more than tripled her number of employees. She told me, I'm helping other women and I'm helping my family too. One of the keys to helping Africa succeed is to empower entrepreneurs. It is in our interest as well to open up trade and deal with subsidies and trade distorting tariffs. And on the continent, I assured the leaders that I am firmly dedicated to coming up with a successful Doha round to make trade freer and fairer.